EPA, the Supreme Court will currently rule in favor of EPA emission standards. San Francisco Chronicle 6 Court of Appeal issued a decision side with the administration. Lower court's decision directly overturned the CEA requires EPA to set standards limiting air pollution vehicles along with United's actions twist towards the CEA. The case also will be a key test of the environmental leanings of the High Court. B, the public supports the case restriction. Brown 6, the abortion folks for the last 16-year-old terminated pregnancy 8 months without a parent's knowledge. Our detached polls tell the tale 38% felt abortion should be general available. Microsoft cultures in favor. Restrictions on abortion rights that require minors to notify get the parents' consent so waiting periods are prohibited. The procedure in the final trimester. C, the Supreme Court avoids making consecutive controversial decisions. They'll back off after the planned gender paraphrase Friday 99. Justice will be quite attentive to the degree of subboard issue with resources of legitimacy of policy. Motivate justice will care about avoiding the application of policy sanctions. The court might for closing its all future policy action. The schools and segregation contains illustrative avoidance of other decisions that might harm its efforts to receive necessary Supreme or has legal doctrine available for in miscegenation statutes but refuse to do so on 2 occasions. 1, a bombshell at a time is enough and ruling for the states and mass EPA is key to solve extinction from warming. Janowski 6, EPA regular carbon dioxide only acts as one of the biggest environmental tests the Bush administration is taking. The case is nothing less than the survival of the U.S. and Blumenthal Attorney General of Connecticut. And climate change hurts women more and tightens gender roles. War 5, the negative effects of climate change are hit the poorest, the hardest. Women forward disproportionate share the poor. Climate change impacts areas basis of livelihoods for which women are responsible. For example, water and energy supplies because women are primary caregivers in times of vital stress. The occurrence of magnified births are caregiving likely to be the most mobile. And emission standards are key to decrease fuel consumption. Duty 6, the regulations states provide powerful and effective markets against have stimulated new emission control technology product substitution with alternative manufacturing methods. Litigation responsible development of innovative catalog control, electronic management technology that reduce new vehicle emissions while allowing higher fuel economy and performance. And rapid oil depletion kills high traction, killing 2/3 of the planet. Hamburg 3, it is not difficult to imagine the consequences of rapid price hike of fuels to run farm machinery to transport computer nitrogen fertilizer ag production based on cheap energy resource enable feeding of a global population like over 6 billion. How many people post industrial fewer than 2 billion people? Next off is the counterplan. The United States Congress should pass a Freedom of Choice Act for preventing and position the requirement of parental consent, informed consent. It appears in record TV upheld by the United States Supreme Court of Planned Parenthood of Southeastern Pennsylvania v. Robert Casey et al. And it solves the Freedom of Choice Act, revokes the restriction of casing, creates statutory guarantees to the right to abortion. Tribe 92, the Freedom of Choice Act established reproductive freedom. Both the Freedom of Choice Act and restores freedom of women who don't afford Casey. The Casey eliminates the last vested death of Congress constitutional authority passed over. Despite the enormous damage Casey did, the court reaffirmed the proposition of the woman who chooses to terminate pregnancies, exercise liberty, pregnant clothing abandonment, makes a plain that Congress invoked under Section 5 may provide a statute protecting the court is unwilling to find the Constitution, and only the counterplan of the court action legitimizes social regimes of the family, sex, and marriage. West 5, current legal regimes collectively the sexual activities possible with only within a traditional marriage. Both parties are open to the possibility of conception. Legal regime can be displaced through legislative process. Reconception of sexuality relation to the Constitution cannot happen by fiat from the courts, and certainly cannot happen because we declare it to be necessary in order to discovery of a right to abortion, truly establish a right universally valid by constitutional and parental sexual, murder, and family regimes, so long as those regimes include the choice to have an abortion. This would truncate the development of constitutional thought where an apparent constitutional violation involves a broad measure of law, society, custom, and trend belief and habit. Congress is better situated to address and remedy the constitutional violation. From time to time, a law might be unconstitutional, both narrow and broad. In such case, the court should take care not to overstate its interpretive authority, should take care not to preclude or foreclose the generative understanding of the Constitution for providing preemptive constitutional remedies. Next off is I that. The act refers to the United States Supreme Court as an it. This instrumentalizes people by storing their being in relation to the world. Periceli 99, whoever says that the thou meets me through grace by speaking the primary word to it is an act of being. Some act of my being, the primary word I thou can be spoken only with the whole being. There are 2 primary word combinations that can be spoken in human beings, I thou and I it. The primary word I thou cannot be spoken only with the whole being. The words thou and it cannot be used in isolation from the I of I thou nor the I of I it. The formula impels us into a stand of relation to the world with all level, impels us to stand of in a relation into the world, and saying either of these primary words, we bring the I thou or the I of relation into existence through the act of thought or speech itself. And the I-it relationship precludes dialogue and risk annihilation. She's having 95 who I-thou coexist in character of mutuality. I use the other person's objects relation is anti-dialogical, dominating, exploitative. Such persons refer to only themselves like people or things, and I tendency dehumanized as an obstacle to democracy and a serious threat to the existence of civilization. And the alternative, the United States Supreme Court should overrule Planned Parenthood of Southern Pennsylvania et al. Robert P. Casey et al. The United States Supreme Court should rule that the requirements of parental consent, informed consent, waiting periods, and record keeping that the United States Supreme Court upheld are unconstitutional, and we must reject the language of it and replace the language of thou or you. This is the key to mutual dialogue and challenge colonialism. 95 with regard to coexisting character of human persons, but no true fundamental latitudes found in all human experience of the world. I-thou relationship, which ought to be lived in others' world of I-it relationship, which persons always have to avoid. I-thou form coexistence for cooperation persons, mean cooperation in order to transform the world. I-thou coexistence is characterized by mutuality and dialogue. These neither oppose nor manipulate, but generate a commitment to freedom and guide dialogical persons to focus their attention on the reality of the challenge them. In I-thou relation, I only give this, I only speak, but listen, I'll not only respond, but in my response, the opposite of I-thou is the I-that form of coexistence, which is the other person as an object. This relation regards others as a means to an end, as an anti-dialogical, a dominating, exploitative. Case. 1. Biopolitics does not lead to demonic eventualities. Dean 1. There's no necessity means that general action rules such as biopolitics will ineluctably lead to demonic eventualities. Elements of the biopolitics right resource of political action and attempt to influence the government. And when we gain political action, we enter a zone of danger. We might add the price of not engaging in political action is equally greater than a greater condition of political action requires analysis of actors, context, resources, and tactics and ends. So biopolitics remains tricky. Must establish analysis of ways the implementation of programs, administration of life opens fresh areas of contestation, negotiation, and redefinition. 2. They don't solve all of biopolitics. The fact that abortion constraints are viable proves the reverse. It does not prove the reverse. Hospital plan, but the plan stops that the government will continue health programs, search in general, warnings and vaccinations, and state restrictions don't prevent access. Graber 96 legalization destroyed the great market strategy, raising class disparities in access. The contemporary access problems cannot be blamed on state laws or judicial decisions. State regulations have little impact on access. Funding bans, Medicare and forum against temporal notification. Other barriers are not preventing women from taking abortions. The court's decisions have not affected this reproductive choice and the case of restrictions. No public access. Graber 96 case may have changed the law in the book, but law and actions remain the same since the 70s. Regulation not being enforced while others are being enforced, and ways to not prevent women. Women of all economic classes are usually able to handle legal obligations, and they don't solve anti-abortion backlash. The public evidence concedes that will recur to abortion clinics, and a Casey grants reproductive rights completely distinct from privacy. Daily 95, the courts of privacy jurisprudence has been criticized. Casey emphasized liberty is distinct from privacy. Matters are protected whether or not there's a constitutional right to privacy or Casey's matters are protected because there's something far more fundamental. State Casey avoided the quicksand of privacy jurisprudence, relying directly on the firmly grounded on objectionable liberty interests, and a Casey signals a sea change in the approach to reproductive rights. They are expansive and grant agency to women. Daily 95, Casey contains the seeds of many positive relevance. Casey considers the effect of abortion on all women. It also recognizes the reproductive rights and aspects of women's social and economic life. As states effort to pigeonhole women and pigeonhole the right to liberty, so the case for those enough respect for women to warrant application of equal protection principles and radical change, and then possible through the legal framework attacking the politics of difference within law guarantees reinscription of the liberal norm. Rudy 96 offers an argument for abortion rights based on personhood. This is deficient because it's still the government that grants that freedom and allows the power to find which parts of our identity are allowed to appear in public and which parts remain sequestered. By making abortion legal on any grounds, we give priority to the unified individual and solidify our commitment to liberal thinking. Law cannot adjudicate the concerns of communities because it places itself in the legal unified subject above the debate, and no reverse causal solvency evidence callable only says failure to recognize difference on a host of issues, including abortion as a reflection of the bad person gender. There's no chance that making one chance has any effect on the systematic problem, and turns social coercion. Widespread access creates pressure to abort agency. It's denied by constraining social forces. Danville 5, the impoverished woman is subject to societal governmental support. She gives birth or process financial support are minimal. She's the fetus confront health risks. Those factors exert pressure on a woman to abort instead of working to respect self-determination. The valid situation might really capacity for someone preventing someone who wishes to give birth from having a child is often still found with capacity for self-determination. This woman may feel pressure to justify continuing pregnancy and the existence of the resulting baby, and turns splinters progressive. The essentializing focus on abortion undermines more significant politics. Graver and 96 when women, 4% person color mobilized, they are more likely to support restrictions on abortion. Public activists are typically poor, less educated, religious, more women opposed. Abortion is less likely to mobilize a rainbow coalition than a distract or splinter such movements. Lower class citizens are quite willing to abandon the party of low economic policies for the party of conservative family values in order to woo economic conservative supporters. Abortion politicians abandon concern for the poor or labor. Their pro-choice victories came at the expense of progressive concerns. Abortion only enters American politics when other issues get left out, issues that may be a pressing concern, and turn oversimplification. Focus on abortion ignores discrimination against pregnancy, preventing broad assessment of selfhood questions. Facility 97 to try some other important issues. Discriminatory treatment, pregnant women say feminist rhetoric on abortion has damaged the feminist cause by oversimplifying this complex issue and alienating many supporters in the process. And the status quo guarantees meaningful abortion rights. Only the plan puts them at risk. Braver 96 skills strategies for the strength and weaknesses of their force and the rivals protest efforts to resolve the selfless fighting vastly superior odds, convinced they are battling for the victims. The fact that persons who abortions are pro-choice citizens, the most sophisticated weaponry about politics, money, media control, prestige, institution, persecution, equal choice, best use of support of fickle leads by striving to keep abortion off the political agenda. This requires advocacy to efforts to achieve overwhelming political triumphs and concentrate on not losing what calls struggles, defense, and maneuvers, aimed at not losing will maintain a favorable political climate for abortion, keep abortion legal, promises to improve access for safe abortion services, and backlash turns the case, empowering the right, risks an absolute ban. Graver 96 to achieve every goal of the pro-choice movement, empowering the pro-life coalition that present the greatest threats to continued vitality, digital policies that merely keep abortion legal, do substantially more to make that procedure available to less fortunate citizens. All of the pro-choice measures combined when abortion is legal, access increased dramatically, legalization substantially lowers the price. Millions have had safely legal abortion because of Roe. And okay, 3 seconds.
Status of the 2 counterplans?
I'm sorry, I believe you're referring to a counterplan and record alternative, and they're both conditional.
Alright. For these alternative
We got a
counterplans.
text. Dude, no one reads
It's all
text
the
anymore. You
same.
should give us a little love.
Alright. This counterplan, please.
Well, at least we
Let's
don't
talk
say it's a
about
Ford
the
picking block.
oil impact scenario. Your internal link evidence the tax been out is decreased fuel consumption. Says that in the past it led to things like catalytic converters,
Well, yeah, it's impossible to reduce CO2 without increasing
better gas
efficiency.
mileage. Does this evidence speak to future fuel alternatives? Because it's talking about
How
shipping in
can you reduce
1970s.
emissions, CO2 emissions from vehicles without increasing fuel efficiency? You can't.
I'm sorry.
How can you reduce emissions from vehicles, CO2 emissions
Yeah, I
from
know.
vehicles without increasing
You're
fuel
right.
efficiency?
The evidence would have to say that we'll increase fuel efficiency. I'm asking if this
Well, yeah,
evidence
that's what
speaks
the
to any
regulations do.
future thing we could do. It's talking about how we make catalytic converters in the
Well, right, but
1970s.
if you're contesting the truth claim that the EPA regulations require an increase in fuel efficiency in order to achieve a reduction
No,
in
I'm
CO2,
just asking you what kind of shit to do.
well, for instance, they could develop alternative fuels, which would not release CO2. They could develop efficiency measures. They could strengthen CAFE standards. They could close the SUV
So
loophole.
what's the
They could
time
do
frame
rebates.
on
They
that?
could do
Your evidence says if we don't rapidly decrease consumption now, it'll kill us all. So how long is it going to take to make
well, our
alternative
argument is that we have to
fuels
smooth the
that
transition
aren't
away from oil.
gasoline for cars?
Sorry, what?
I mean, how long is it going to take the EPA to keep us all from using gasoline, which is what your
well-
internal leak evidence says we have to do to solve
Well,
the
after
impact.
this case, then they'll be required to regulate, which means that
Does
they'll
the evidence say
regulate-
they'll be required to stop us from putting gas in our vehicles?
We don't have to stop putting gas in our vehicles. The point is we need to decrease our consumption to
It
smooth
seems
the
your impact
transition
evidence
away
sets
from
some
oil.
pretty high threshold you internally can't overcome, but whatever. So your argument is that the public supports the Casey restrictions,
Mhm.
and restrictions on abortion are overwhelmingly popular,
Uh-huh.
and so the court will somehow perceive this.
Well, yeah.
Who on
the
the
internal
court?
link
Who on
evidence
the court's
indicates
going to change their vote?
Kennedy.
Is Kennedy the swing vote in this instance? Why is that? Is he just a dumbass? Is he like the one Supreme
No,
Court
he
judge?
cares. I mean, the
Jesus,
court really
send
cares
for
about making consecutive
drugs.
controversial decisions. The internal link evidence we read indicates that this is empirically proven by things such as the school desegregation cases, where
Your
the
Congress
court.
counterplan. I get
Okay.
it. Your Congress counterplan. Does it overrule Casey?
Well, Congress doesn't overrule, but however, it lifts the restrictions, the same restrictions lifted by the plan.
But does it overrule the decision itself?
We don't have a
Congress can't
court.
overrule court decisions.
So the
no.
decision of Casey is still on the books.
Well,
How can you
it's
solve
impossible.
any of our internal link evidence in the 1AC that says the reason we have to overturn Casey is because the language of the decision codifies in the Constitution that
Because
a woman
Congress-
is inferior to a man?
Because Congress rejects the language of that decision. Congress says
It's
we are
still on
going
the
to make a
books.
democratic determination.
It's still
Let's- let's-
constitutionally
Okay, but
valid.
Congress, the West evidence is actually very good and is comparative. It indicates that when Congress makes a decision
All right,
that's
let's talk
contrary
about
to
the
the
West
court.
evidence.
Yeah, sure.
That evidence says when Congress makes a decision about the court, it can. Are you talking about? Well, all right.